Hi everybody. Today, an art journal tutorial. Well, I'm going to make a card, but you can do the exact same thing and do this on an art journal page. You've got options. So here are the supplies needed. Napkin, word stamp, stencil, and a folded card. That's the substrate. All of these are available at NinnysNapkins. Check the description box for a link and coupon code. So I've chosen to do my project on this 6x6 folded card from TCW. I'm going to tape off the edge just to keep anything off of it. As I said, you can do the exact same project on a 5x7 art journal page, 7x10 it would work. If you go for a bigger size, you just simply need to use more focal image. We'll talk about that in the options. So as a base, I'm going to use this gel print. It has some shades of blue in it. There's a little bit of gold in there, a little bit of green. You can use scrapbook papers. You can paint using those colors. I like this because it has details. Now I'm going to cut this to 5.5-inch square to fit inside my card, so I have a border, a white border around it. If you're doing this in an art journal page, you can go right to the edge of the page if you so choose, or make a border. It's a nice detail to incorporate even on an art journal page. I'm just looking to see which side I like better. And I have excess to use on another page. And there you can see the border that I'm going to have. This is a quick, easy way to get a background. Now I'm using the napkin. This one's called Sunflower and Wheat Napkin. And I have water cut the sunflower out. And how I do that is I take a liner brush, as you see me here, with a little bit of water, and I'm cutting right next to the focal image that I want. I'm cutting out what I don't want, put the water, and then peel it away. You don't want to use too much water. Links to all the products that are used in this video are in the description box, so check out those links. Thank you so much for shopping through any of my affiliate links. I'm getting rid of as much of the white as possible because I know my background is going to be dark blue. And while the napkin does go mostly translucent, I don't want a white halo on it. I actually do end up solving that problem in a different way. But this is removing as much as possible is always a good idea. And I'm not too worried if a little bit of it comes off. And I've done two of them because they're mirror images of each other. Right now, I don't know what orientation I'm going to do. If you were doing a larger art journal page, you may want a cluster of 3 of these sunflowers. They also have this napkin also has these cute bees on it, which I will use as well. If not for this project, another one. So now I'm playing with the composition. What do I want to do? The dark blue works really well. I could put this stencil behind it. I think that would look rather nice. I have a wheat stencil, and then I have this linked tiles stencil, and I really like the way that looks. So I'm taping down the stencil, and instead of just stenciling this, I'm going to put gold modeling paste from the Crafter's Workshop through the stencil. Now I'm trying to decide if I want it for the whole background or just part of it. And the answer is yes. I do a little bit of both. So here's the champagne gold modeling paste. I put some on my palette, and then with a key card, I am putting it in basically one corner. I have the most luck using key cards to apply modeling paste. And there you have it. Now the sunflower, I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet, playing around with it, but I'm going to step back and give it some time to the modeling paste to dry. Now I said I'm going to do both, just do it in a corner and do the entire background. So I'm grabbing Prussian blue, which is a dark blue, very navy, and I put the stencil back on place, and for the rest of the background, I'm going to stencil with the Prussian blue. And I'm not trying to get a perfect stencil. I've kind of continued the pattern, and I'm just bumping it, moving it over a little bit to get it right off the page. Some areas I'm stenciling it's darker than others, and I like that variation. Now that everything's dry, I have to finalize the composition. Where am I going to put this sunflower? That bright gold and the blues really work well. That's because they are opposite each other on the color wheel. And that's always a winning color combination. I keep playing with this. I don't think there's a wrong way. Now I do cut out a little bit. I didn't do the modeling paste right off the edge, and there was a little bit there that was bothering me. I admit it. So I just cut it off. So it's not perfectly square at this point, but I'm okay with that. So now that I've finally decided where I'm going to put the sunflower, I'm going to finish the background. I want to add more interest. So we have whatever markings were on that gel print. Then I stenciled on it with the modeling paste and the Prussian blue. And now I'm going to stamp some word stamps. Now this is a word, it's actually called Words. It's from Stamperia. And I'm just going to stamp with black archival paint, or black archival ink. I didn't want this to be too showy, but it is adding just one more bit of interest to the background. And you can see there's just, I love the sizes, the size differences of this word stamp. Now before I glue it down, I decided that I'm going to shade around the edges. I thought it would be easier to do, and I was less likely to get it on the white border of the cardstock or the card base. So I'm doing it now. And you can see how it frames the background or the insert. I'm using gel medium from the Crafter's Workshop. To glue this down. I put it down, sorry for the back of my head, and then I push it down with a brayer. This is a good trick. It really helps flatten it, get rid of wrinkles. And there you have the background on the card. Now I'm going to put the sunflower here. Now because my background's dark, if I just glued that straight on, the dark would come through and I would lose the brightness of the sunflower. Because I don't want that, and I want to really get rid of all the excess white, even though I did watercut it fairly close. I'm going to glue this down onto paper beforehand. I'm putting the fluid matte medium underneath and on top. Now you could glue this down onto mixed media paper, cardstock, copy paper, as I'm doing. And I'm doing both of them because I know whichever one I don't end up using is going into my stash and I'll be able to use it on another project. And this part is already done. Once this is completely dry, I am cutting right next to it. And you can see I'm getting rid of all the excess that I don't want. I'm not trying to be too terribly precise. I'm kind of wibbling, wobbling, getting some natural defects. So once that's all cut out, you can see how bright it is. I'm using the gel medium to glue it down. It's a little thicker now and there's texture underneath. And when that is the case, that's when I prefer to use gel medium over the fluid medium. Both will work. One you might have to work a little bit harder to get done. Now I'm using my wooden stamps and I'm going to stamp the sentiment on here, shine. And I decided that instead of going straight, I'm going to do a curve. I always stamp it on paper first to give myself an idea for spacing, and I can also addition whether I like it or not. Now I'm going to stamp with gold acrylic paint. I put some on my glass palette, spread it out, and then I stamp. I get a baby wipe in hand and I stamp into the wet and I stamp onto my project. If I make a mistake here, I can clean it off. You also want to clean the acrylic paint off of your stamps ASAP. I'm not trying to make this perfectly in line. And I hold it in place for a little bit, and I find that gives me a good stamp. I love it. The tape is a little sticking, was moving some paper, so I use the heat tool to help remove it without pulling off paper. I grab my General's charcoal and I'm just adding some sketchy lines to bring out the sunflower. I know at this stage that I'm not going to add any more wet layers. I'm not going to varnish this because it's a card. So I know there's no risk of me reactivating the charcoal. If I was doing this on an art journal page or a canvas, and I think it would look nice in either of those, I would use a spray fixative before I would varnish it, just to set it, because I do like the sketchy look of using the charcoal. Now all things are better with some more gold. There's a lot of gold on there, but gold and that navy works so well. I'm just going to splatter with gold. And that brings us to the end of our project. I hope you give this a try. Check out all the links in the description box. Give me a thumbs up. Ask me a question. Until next time, go get creative.